What's up everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another Daily Deck Tech video, and today we have ourselves another viewer request. Today's viewer request is Gonti Night Minister from Aether Drift. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So Gonti, they're a character of originally from the Kaladesh site, or Kaladesh set, now the plane of Avishkar, and shows back up again in a few other sets. And so Gonti here is a 3/4 for 2 generic and double black. It's whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token, so theft. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell this way. So the goal here is for us to get through with a bunch of sneaky little creatures and cast a whole bunch of our opponent's stuff and create a whole bunch of treasures in doing so, and hopefully win the game with our opponent's own cards. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're running 16 creatures in the deck. Now these 16 creatures are all very low to the ground. They are not the most powerful cards in the world, but they all have, or for the most part, all of them have a trait in common. It's that they'll be able to get through. But let's start off with Academy Manufacturer. He's not one of our ones that are going to get through. He's going to be there to generate clues and foods when we generate ourselves some treasure tokens. Simple, straightforward, to the point. We have Changeling Outcast. He can't block or be blocked. It's a 1/1 for 1. He can start poking early. Same with a whole bunch of these that are about to get listed off. We have Dothy Cutthroat. It's a 1/1 for 2. It has Shadow, and you can destroy target creature with Shadow. This is important because if somebody does poke you, you can kill their Shadow creature if they steal it from you. We have Dothy Ghoul, Shadow, and whenever a creature with Shadow is put into a graveyard from anywhere or from play, put a 1/1 counter on Dothy Ghoul. This is important because a lot of our stuff has Shadow, and Dothy Voidwalker is a card that exists that a lot of people play. Speaking of which, we have Dothy Voidwalker in here. It's a 3/2 for 2. Shadow, if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, instead exile it with a Void counter and sacrifice it, and you can choose an exiled card an opponent owns with a Void counter on it. You may play it this turn without paying its mana cost. We got Dothy Slayer. He's a Shadow and has attacks each turn available. Dothy Horror. He cannot be blocked by white creatures, which is hilarious because he has Shadow. So if this would only be able to be blocked normally if there's a creature with Shadow. So it cannot be blocked by white Shadow creatures either, and in the most extremely rare circumstance that could ever exist. We have Dothy Warlord, which is Shadow and star 1, and its power is equal to the number of creatures with Shadow. We have Gonti, Lord of Luxury, from the it looks like the version here is from the what do you call it? The Commander deck from the Cowboy set. Oh my goodness, Thunder Junction. He has Death Touch, a 2/3 for 4, and when he enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. Exile one of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of that library in a random order, and you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana may be spent as though it were any type. He's there to steal somebody's card, and also he's Death Touch, so somebody might not block and might just let you through. Ophiomancer creates us a snake that blocks, so if somebody tries to get through, you can block them and Death Touch it. You can also sneak through with the snake, most likely. We have Prickly Boggart. He's got Fear, which means he can only be blocked by artifact or black creatures. Rankle, Flying Haste, and when it deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card, each player loses a life and draws a card, or each player sacrifices a creature. You're going to probably choose that each player sacrifices a creature, especially if you have Ophiomancer in play, because it will help keep threats off of your opponent's boards, because our creatures can't really block. We do have Tiny Bones the Pickpocket. It's a 1/1 for 1 with Death Touch, and when he deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and mana may be spent as though it were mana of any type to play that spell. We've got Tormented Soul, which can't be blocked and is unblockable. It's a 1/1 for 1. It's also got some spooky art there. He almost looks like the Raven Man, really. Vampire Cutthroat. He has Skulk, so he can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Lifelink, 1/1. And then Vashta Narada, which is a 1/1 for 3 with Indestructible, Shadow, and Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Vashta Narada. I actually really like that name. I know nothing about Doctor Who, but that's a sweet name. How are we going to protect ourselves? Because people are going to be swinging at us because people don't like getting their stuff stolen. So in our sorcery slot, we do have some removal in here. We have Blasphemous Edict. Use sparingly since, you don't want all of your creatures to die as well. But it's very important that you learn to not overextend. Having 1 or 2 shadow creatures out there is perfectly acceptable enough. They're going to get through. We have Blood Money. Destroy all creatures. For each non-token creature destroyed this way, you create a tap treasure token. Bubbling Muck is in here, which is just High Tide, but for swamps and sorcery speed. We have Exsanguinate. So we're going to generate a lot of treasures anyway. So Exsanguinate and Torment of Hailfire are in here as win conditions, essentially. Feed the Swarm, destroy an enchantment or a creature, and you lose life equal to the mana value. Mutilate. All creatures get -1/-1 till end of turn for each swamp you control. We have Night's Whisper. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Sign in Blood is target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life, because you do need card advantage. Instance is Bitter Triumph. As an additional cost to play the spell, you can discard a card to pay 3 life, and then you can destroy a creature or planeswalker. Consuming Corruption, it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life, where X is the number of swamps you control. Darkness, this is just Black Fog. It's for 1 black. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. It's got this neat little art here. We have Dark Ritual, help us get out our Gonti faster. Deadly Dispute, sack a creature or artifact. You draw 2, create a treasure. Sorry, it is like 2 in the morning. We have Defile, which is target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. Dismember, which is target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Doomblade. To this day, this is one of my favorite arts on a card. I used to have an altar back in my old collection before I sold it, where the scar was running the entire length of the art. We have Eviscerator Insight. You can sack an artifact or a creature to draw 2 cards. It also has flashback. We have Fake Your Own Death. Until end of turn, target creature gets, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and you create a treasure token. Veil the Profane, which is both removal and a land. Flare of Malice, which makes people sacrifice a creature with the greatest mana value. Go for the Throat, Infernal Grasp, both removal. Shieldred, it makes people sacrifice a non-token creature, a token, or a planeswalker. Sudden Spoiling, which is split second, and all until end of turn, creatures target player controls become 0/2s and lose all abilities. It's kind of a protection spell for you. Undying Malice. Same thing as Fake Your Own Death. It's going to bring something back from the graveyard when it dies. We have Village Rites. You can sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. We have Withering Torment. Destroy target creature or enchantment. You lose 2 life. Then for our artifacts, we are running Blade of Selves. Put this on one of your shadow creatures and go to town. We have Goldvein Pickaxe. Creates a treasure token. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Helm of Awakening. So spells cost 1 less, so that way you can cast your opponent's spells for cheaper. Icehawk Scepter. Again, sorry. I would put Darkness on this, personally. Darkness to prevent combat damage, to prevent people from attacking you. That is probably going to be your best value on there. But you can put any number of these on there as well. We have Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots to give haste and forms of protection. Whisper Silk Cloak, Shroud and Unblockable. Soul Ring for Mana Rock. We are running Nuka-Cola Vending Machine because it does create food. And whenever you sacrifice a food, you create a tap treasure. This card does nutty things with our Academy Manufacturer. I did not put Clock of Omens in here, but it does combo with Clock of Omens. We have the Darkness Crystal, so if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile instead, you gain 2 life. And then you can pay 6 to put a card exiled with the Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield under your control with 2/1/1 counters on it. We are running the Soulstone. This accounts for a giant portion of the budget, but it is important to get some of your creatures back if they die. We aren't running a whole lot of Reanimate in here, so the Soulstone is in here. Also, although this card is really strong, it has not had the impact that a lot of us, myself included, thought it was going to have on Commander. I did think that it was, and am vindicated in saying that it was going to maintain its $80 price, but I think part of that is because Spider-Man did not get opened up in the frequency that it needed to for the Soulstone to drop in price. For enchantments, we have Agent of the Iron Throne, which is commander creatures have whenever an artifact or creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. We have Doth the Embrace, which you can pay 2 to have target creature gain shadow until end of turn. Then we have Kuskan Falls. This is actually one of my favorite little sleeper cards, and this is from Homelands. Yeah, the bad set. First and foremost, the art looks like a Bob Ross painting, and that is just fantastic. But it is, of course, Rob Alexander, who is one of the best artists in all of Magic the Gathering and does some of the best land art. And this is right there up there. But, more importantly, Kuskan Falls is a 4-drop enchantment that says during your upkeep, tap an untapped creature you control, or you lose it, so just tap a creature. And no creature can attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 whenever that creature attacks. Pretty straightforward. We have Marchesa's Degree, which is you become the monarch, and whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, the player's controller loses 1 life. Revenge of the Ravens does a similar thing. Whenever they attack you or planeswalker you control, they lose 1, you gain 1. We got Phyrexian Arena for card advantage, and we have Parasitic Impetus, which does goad. And whenever the enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life, so you get to gain some life. For our lands, we are running Access Tunnel, Rogue's Passage, and Secret Tunnel for unblockable. Yes, I know most of our stuff has Shadow, but in case you play some of your opponent's creatures that you steal, you're going to want to give them Shadow, or unblockable. And then we also have Minas Morgul here, which it is pretty expensive at 21 bucks, but it lets you pay 4 to put a shadow counter on target creature, and for as long as that creature has a shadow counter on it, it's a wraith in addition to its other types, so makes it pretty unblockable. We are running Bojuka Bog in here as well, and then 32 Swamps. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think he works pretty well as a theft deck. I think the only weakness to this deck is that most of my creatures here have Shadow, and it's really relying on stealing your opponent's creatures to use as blockers and things like that to prevent them from stealing all of your stuff. And if they do manage to steal all of your stuff as well, and everybody's got Shadow things running around, the whole game is going to devolve into chaos. And, you know, that is the worst case scenario for this deck. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.